I mean, as a as a UX UI designer, do you have to work with the data structure yourself? Like, do you go to Solidity? Do you have to learn the environment yourself? Or you just hire some people who work with that? And
well, I work directly with an engineering team, so I don't necessarily have to step into that. And yeah, if maybe we plan an engineering talk and they can talk about that.
Solidity or Hyperledger?
I think I missed that last part.
Solidity or Hyperledger?
The Solidity is Ethereum specific. If you're building smart contracts on Ethereum, that's when you would need to know Solidity. But a designer not necessarily does the development aspect of it. So, you know, Karen would do the design aspect and pass it along to developers to build the actual code. And then Hyperledger is specific to the IBM chain.
Exactly, but the topic of the conversation is the technology and creativity cross. And since we're talking about the new technology, like relatively new, I mean blockchain, there are some new features in UX and in UX UI because you are inventing something new that never been used before, and that's what I'm trying to find out. What is the new routine? What is the new step that we have to implement? That we have to. What is the experience that people have who touch that? I didn't do that. I didn't touch it, so that's why I'm curious.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't touch the code on that, and we're also regulated by the CFTC, so there are a lot of safeguards in place. So it's not like we can kind of go through and try as many things as possible. We have to make sure everything is as secure and as stable as possible. So it makes it a little bit harder to kind of try different things and see what's out there. So we're almost like behind this wall just to make sure all the customers are safe.
I see. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I have a question, Karen. With your A/B testing, was there anything that surprised you when you were showing one or the other? Is there anything that delighted you and about the users or about the way they're using it that you were not expecting?
Yes, all the time. I actually found I found more interesting stuff when I was interviewing the users because a lot of times I was find it's like, oh, someone's very frustrated with this, and they will send a lengthy email or a lengthy message. So, okay, they're passionate about what they're trying to do. What is it they're trying to accomplish that the site is not doing for them? So arrange a call. It's like, hey, would you be up to discuss this? And just kind of ask a lot of questions. And what has been helpful is asking, how are they thinking about trades and what are they looking for? And can they walk me through how they're reviewing all this process? And this is where one guy was able to go through step by step and show me click by click where he was going and then where the site was failing for him. And can you please give me like these 5 features? And it's like, I can't give all of them, but we can put it on a product roadmap. And from there, what I ended up doing was quickly testing between 1 and 2. Very slight differences, but there was definitely one that, like the current one that we have right now, that ended up being the winner. And it was funny because sometimes it's almost like this crowd tends to be a little bit more polite, and it's like, don't be polite. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm more hurt if you can't make a trade. So it's like trying to get them to fess that up is always a challenge. And what we're doing now is, things that we've tested and it's tested well. Now we're releasing it a little bit at a time just so users can kind of get used to it. So it's not like a huge changeover. It's, hey, we've added this. So it just always feels like an additive process, and it's not scary that everything flipped over. One of the more surprising things was the demand for dark mode. And it's like, oh, is this just some trendy thing? And it turns out it's because people are trading, since the platform is open 24/7, they're trading in the evenings and at night. So a white screen is just painful. So there's tons of eye strain. Get it into a dark mode so they can also see some of the action, like being able to see flickers of color where you see numbers going up and down. Like, can I show something within a glance? Yeah. So
is there any significant difference in user testing for any other products that you ever worked on versus the blockchain products?
Yeah, it depends on what the user is looking to do. So some of the past projects, like if someone's interested in music, they just want to be able to uh, create a playlist or let it play, but play it in the background. So once they hit a button, they just don't even think about it. They can continue to work and listen. Um, so it's a little bit more of a passive experience versus here where with the finance product, what I really appreciated is how can I work with the density of information, but also make it to me, the information is very lively because it looks like a lot of numbers, but it's very much alive where you see a lot of action happening around a particular strike price or day to day how many trades are coming in. It's like, whoa, what's creating all of this interest? And then kind of like seeing what happens at expiration.
So does it mean you have to do significantly more user testing than on any other type of product?
It's been about the same. It depends on the goals with each project. Like I've been on smaller products where the product is on a phone and I'll have to go to a cafe and just kindly ask people to give feedback. And that's much different than like a finance product where people want a little bit more privacy. They want to be able to review the data. It's a much more one-on-one experience.
Thank you.
Sure.
Those were all great questions. Thank you everyone for asking them. Any other question? We have time for maybe one more.
If there are no questions, that's fine. Any comments, any feedback, anything that you would want to share with the rest of us? This is a closed group. We meet every month. We have different speakers, different topics every month. So we would, we're always looking to hear from our members what benefits them, what they would like to see more of, less of. So anything, open for anything. The last 3 minutes.
Thanks a lot, Karen. It was an amazing presentation. And if I could ask just one little other question.
Okay.
Sorry, I have endless questions. My name is a question mark. So when so you don't feel like you don't have to answer. But can you talk a little bit more about your user testing on the product?
Oh, sure. So what I'll end up doing is I definitely have a list of requirements. Like these are the things that the user has to accomplish. So they definitely have to be on the site. So what I'll end up doing is kind of playing with the information. So what is the order of the information? How do I position it so it's the most accessible? What I ended up doing was watching a lot of how do users use the current site? And I found that on the older platform, they were actually just the mouse kept hovering to the bottom, and I was trying to figure out why. And it was because they were trying to scroll down the options chain. So it's like, and they were always focused in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, and that was where the options chain was located. And they were trying to scroll through to later dates to explore all of that information. So that led me to moving it into a couple of locations and then testing that and figuring out how compact do I make it. So I also did tests where the the rows were taller versus shorter, and overwhelmingly everyone wanted it shorter because they wanted to see more information right away. And it was always, how fast can I get to the information? How can I scroll through it as quickly as possible? And then now we're also noticing like, okay, we have more strike prices further into the future. And if I have someone land onto the site and it's still kind of like the closest expiration, it's creating a lot more friction where they're trying to drag to the bottom. So what I'm introducing, hopefully in the next couple of rounds, is the ability to be able to jump to future dates. So it could be as simple as a drop down where you can go through and just select. So one of the use cases that I saw was as soon as there's a tweet with new strike prices that are listed, people immediately go on to check it out. So I want to give them a way to jump to those dates faster. So this is where a simple thing is offering a drop down so they can jump to that date.
I promise this is the last clarification.
I hope this is fun.
Oh, this is amazing. So is there a difference when you say I'm comfortable, this is enough user testing for any other general product versus a blockchain product?
Well, if I find there's consistency in behaviors in about 3 to 5, it feels like it's going to be a go. And then what we'll do is we'll put it up, and we're also doing incremental updates. So from there, we can kind of observe, are people still having issues? And this is where we can kind of start iterating and adding on to it. So it's never anything where it feels like it's a showstopper, but it's definitely, we can incrementally continue to make the experience better.
Thank you so much. That was the most interesting answer for me.
Oh, great.
All right, everyone. If that's it, thank you very much for joining. Again, just please, any feedback, any comments, any other topics you'd like to see on this meetup, let us know. You can either tweet us or send us an email. And thank you very, very much again for joining us today.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. And it's great hearing all the questions. It's keeping me on my toes.
Very good. Yeah, thanks everyone for the great questions. And we'll see you again next time.
Great. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.